Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday, September 17th, North Middlesex Council meeting. We did just have a brief closed session where staff gave some information to council. I'll call the meeting back to order. In the minutes of the previous meeting for September 3rd, any errors or omissions or business arising? Seeing none, we need a motion to Council Daigle, Councilor Nerda, all in favor? That's carried. We need to adjourn the regular meeting and proceed to a public meeting for drainage. Councilor Keogh, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? That's carried. And our first item is, I believe we have Josh on. He is online, isn't he? I see him there. Josh, can you hear us there?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And our first item is to consider the Walden Horde Drain Extension and Walden Horde Drain. And Joanne, that's yours.
Mayor and members of council, in front of you is the report for the meeting to consider the engineer's report on the Walden Horde Drain and Walden Horde Drain Extension. Council accepted improvement requests under Section 78 of the Drainage Act on August 16th, 2023. An on-site meeting was held on August 31st, 2023. The request was from Frank Kennis to increase the drain's tile size as water was not draining fast enough in large rain events and running across Highway 7, washing out as a laneway culverts. A second request was brought forward by David Wilmsey to extend the improvements east of the pond on his property located east of Springbank Road. There was another request to investigate further effects of a pond at Tony Wilmsey's east of Center Road. As instructed by the landowners, the drain has been designed above the grantable coefficient standard of 50 millimeters in 24 hours. In summary, there has been 3 draft reports with 3 informal meetings brought to the landowners. Report draft 1, we recommended 168 meters of tile replacement and catch basins and 154 meters of clean out of the Walden Horde drain. It was determined that the pond had no adverse effects on the drain, and at this informal meeting, several landowners expressed concerns of the county's road culvert that crosses Elginfield Road to be reviewed for possible modifications, including tampering. Report draft 2, it was recommended 168 meters of tile again for replacement and catch basins, 154 meters of clean out of the Walden Horde drain. The existing dam would be incorporated as part of the drainage works. The county would not agree to changing the culvert. So draft report number 3, we recommended all of the above, plus the water main will be required to be lowered to accommodate these improvements, and a bore was introduced across Elginfield Road, which brought forward to provide outlet. It is noted that Ardobin Engineering Incorporated is of the opinion that the current Elginfield Road culvert will provide sufficient outlet for the drainage works. So the bore will be assessed with 30% applied to the road authority, 45% split evenly as a benefit assessment to the 3 property owners, and the remaining 25% applied as an outlet assessment upstream to the lands and roads. The cost of the project is $458,744. The proposed motion and staff recommendation is that council receives report DIO 62 of 2025 regarding the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Walden Horde drain and the Walden Horde drain extension for information, and that council accepts the final report for the Walden Horde drain and Walden Horde drain extension prepared by Ardobin Engineering Incorporated dated August 13th, 2025, and that the first sitting of the quarter revision on behalf of the Walden Horde drain and Walden Horde drain extension be scheduled to be held on October 15th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. At this time, is there any questions here from the affected landowners on this presentation? Oh, if would you come up, please, sir, and give your name? Come up and sit at the microphone, please, and give your name.
Right.
Can you turn on the microphone just so Josh can hear you as well?
Okay, now it's on, I guess. There we go.
Okay.
How's that? Anyways, I'm at the bottom 7 there. And this has been going on for a lot of years. And water cannot get across the road. And I think the county should be paying more for this drain than us farmers, because if the road wasn't there, we wouldn't have that problem. Like, I just don't think it's fair that the landowners have to bear 95% of the cost. Like, I want this drain in, but it's gonna cost me over 100 grand. And the county's paying 20. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes across the road, it's a road hazard. People drive through, I got on my phone they're driving through at 50 mile an hour and the water's going across the road. And my yard floods out 2 or 3 times a year, every time you get 2 or 3 inches of rain. This has been going on for 15 years. I'm tired of it. I want some improvements. And I don't think all the landlords should be paying all of this cost. And that's the way I feel about it. Because if the road wasn't there, we wouldn't have the problem, but we need the road. The water cannot get across the road. The road is a berm. The way the natural road, the water should go across the road, but it can't. And it stays on the east side of number 7. And it just ends up in my yard. And it makes a heck of a mess.
All right, Joanne, are you going to respond to that or Josh?
I'll let Josh.
Okay, Josh, would you respond to that, please?
Yep. Thank you. Through the chair. I believe Frank's in agreement with the design. I'll let him verify that for sure, but I recommend that any kind of assessment appeals that be heard at the quarter revision.
Okay, so you're saying the appeal would have to wait till a quarter revision?
Yeah,
That's correct. If it's related to the assessments in the report, then he would have to submit an appeal to the quarter revision.
Because we're paying the county's paying 20 grand. That isn't very much money. On a $400,000 project. Let's face it, right? That's only 5%. So.
Okay.
If someone could get killed on that road and the county's liable, and I could just say, well, they didn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a traffic safety hazard for sure. When it rains 2 inches in less than 24 hours, it goes across the road. It does it all the time. It's not just once in a while. It's 2 or 3 times a year. So.
Is there, Joanne, I would ask if I can, is there still an opportunity to talk with the county to discuss them again before it comes to quarter revision?
we have talked to the county and, sorry, through the mayor, we have talked to the county and they have said that they're not going to modify that culvert. So that's why we decided we would do a bore under the road to provide another outlet.
Okay, thank you.
You take a look at that culvert, it's got about a foot of rocks in it now. So it's culvert's big enough, but the throat feeding that culvert's not nearly big enough. And they can't make it any bigger because the gas line's there. And there was a U bridge in there first. I actually think it was better than it is now. There's more flooding because the water cannot get across the road.
Okay.
The throat feeding this culvert is only 3 feet. The culvert's 6 feet wide. The hole going into that culvert is too small. Because that water is going through way too fast, while those rocks would be they're in the bottom of the culvert.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Just before I go to council, I have to ask if there's anyone else in attendance that wants to speak to this. Seeing none, Councillor Keough.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. On behalf of the landowner, the $20,000 assessment for Middlesex County, is that including the bore underneath the road? Like, are they cost sharing in that?
Their assessment for Elginfield Road is actually 39,479. And sorry, what's the second part?
Okay, so are they picking up the cost of boring under the road, or is the municipality?
It's divided between the landowners. There's 3 landowners involved and Frank Kennis is one of them. And then the county as well. Yes. It's broken down in a percentage.
Yeah, it's through the chair. It's Josh
Go ahead.
Carter here. So the bore was assessed. We felt that the bore was not required to provide a sufficient outlet for the landowners, but it was a part of the project that they requested be included. Therefore, we assessed the bore with 30% to the road authority, 30% or 45% split evenly between 3 benefiting properties at the lower end, and the remainder was assessed as an outlet assessment. Again, if we're going to be discussing the assessments that would have to be heard at the quarter.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Keough, a follow up.
No, I just missed the last 3 words.
Yeah, what did you say at the end, Josh, please?
Sorry, if it is to do with discussion related to the assessments, it really should be heard at the quarter revision.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Nerda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just get some more clarification on why the county only has a 20% been assessed at 20% on this?
Yeah, it's through the chair. So
Go ahead, Josh.
Yep. So we have to assess the drainage works for people that utilize the drainage works. The county has a county ditch that drains separate from the Walden Horde drain. So they don't directly benefit from the Walden Horde drain. They utilize portions of it, but they don't have a large benefit, as in they don't tie directly into the Walden Horde drain other than right at the county culvert. So they're not utilizing a lot of that drainage system. Therefore, we felt that the assessment is fair and that there was a sufficient outlet at that culvert for the drainage works, but the landowners felt that they wanted to tie downstream of that culvert. Therefore, the county was not assessed the full cost of that bore.
Okay. Okay, is there any other questions from the council? I do have to ask if anyone in attendance would like to add or remove their name from this petition. Not seeing one. Any other questions from council? Our motion tonight is just to receive this for information. Correct? This will come back to Committee of Adjustment. So moved by Councillor Daigle, seconded by Councillor Callison. All in favor of that?
Sorry to interrupt. It's not just for doesn't go through the Committee of Adjustment.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't read the whole thing, and you've all got it in front of you. So it is for information that council accepts the final report from the Walden Horde Drain Extension prepared by RDOB and Engineering, dated August 13th, 2025, and that the first sitting of the quarter revision, but on behalf of the Walden Horde Drain and the extension be scheduled for October 15th at 5:30. So that's the entire motion. Okay. Next time I'm going to get you to read it, Joanne. Okay. In favor of that? Councillor Daigle, Councillor Irwin, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Our next item is 5.3, and that is a meeting to consider the Shaper's Grain.
Mayor and members of council, in front of you is a meeting to consider the engineer's report on the Scapers Drain. The request for major improvements was brought to council on August 14th, 2024, where the landowner, Pat Johnson, requested to increase his tile size under Section 78 of the Drainage Act. At a later date, another landowner, Joe Lacey, requested to extend the drain from McDonald Drive to Sylvan Road under Section 4 of the Drainage Act. This drain will consist of the following: 2,040 meters of tile replacement with catch basins, a junction box, and 2 road crossings, 170 meters of open channel enclosure, 103 meters of open channel deepening. The estimated cost of the Scapers Drain is $321,138. The drain is designed to a higher drainage coefficient of 50 millimeters in 24 hours, which is higher than the grantable standard. The proposed motion staff recommendation is that council receives a report DIO 63 of 2025 regarding the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Scapers Drain for information, and that council accepts the final report for the Scapers Drain prepared by RDOB and Engineering Incorporated, dated August 4th, 2025, and that the first sitting of the quarter revision on behalf of the Scapers Drain be scheduled to be held on October 15th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
Is there any affected landowners who wish to speak on this item? Come ahead, sir. Give your name, please, and we'll.
My name is Joe Lacey. And I missed a bunch of meetings here. I was gone, so the meetings they had on site, I wasn't around for them.
Okay.
I really don't know what much is going on. I know Joanne stopped there one day, but I was busy planting corn, so I didn't have no time. So,
Okay, so I'm not sure where to go with that one. If you
yeah,
haven't
so
got the
they went,
information.
they're making it bigger, like at the time, they're just making it to 555 at the side road. But I guess they're gonna extend it farther in my field, which is fine. We're getting a lot of blowouts anyways. It's just nice to get it done here. But I guess I haven't really talked to anybody about it.
Okay, Joanne, you want me to have Josh speak to that a little bit? About what's actually happening? Josh?
Yep. So through the chair, so Joe, on your property, basically from Sylvan Road, for to your southerly property line, we're running a 12-inch tile, and then north of that, it's a 14-inch through the remainder of your property. And through the properties north of McDonald Drive, it's a 16 and a 18-inch tile, and it also includes an enclosure. So I mean, the main features of the drainage works on your property would be the 14-inch tile as well as the 12-inch tile, kind of in that alignment that we had discussed over the phone as well.
So you guys are making it bigger than what you planned on tonight?
Than we had originally submitted. That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Hooking all of my tile back in there then too?
Yep. That's correct.
Okay. So what's my share of my portion then?
Joanne, I'll,
Sorry, through the mayor and to Joe Lacy, you have two properties. So your lot 7 is $25,008 and your lot 8 is $47,169. Do you have a copy of the report?
Yeah, I did, but I think that I never got a chance to read it. Too much stuff when I go. Okay,
okay, and I think if you have more questions on this and comments, you can reach out to Joanne and
Alright.
discuss that further, I think.
okay,
All right,
all right, thanks, guys.
okay, thank you. And I have to inquire if anybody would like to have their name removed or added to this petition. Okay. Questions from council on this one? Any questions from council? No, we have a recommendation in front of us. Joanne's gonna read. You got away with it last time, not this time. Sorry. Okay. Moved by Counselor Daigle, seconded by Counselor Deputy Mayor Hodgins. All in favor? Carried. Next one is meeting to consider Pickering Drain and Carry extension cleanout. Joanne.
Okay. Mayor and members of council, in front of you is the report for the meeting to consider the engineer's report on the Pickering Drain and the Carey Drain Extension cleanout. This project was initiated by an improvement request under Section 78 of the Drainage Act, and council accepted this improvement request October 16th, 2024. The recommendation in the final report dated August 4th, 2025 is that the channel on Jerry McCann's property be rerouted to the east lot line of his property, and that future specifications and future maintenance provisions will be developed for the open channel and the culverts within the municipality of North Middlesex. The drainage coefficient. Sorry, that's wrong. My notes. Sorry. The cost of the project is $78,345. The proposed motion and staff recommendation is that council receives the report DIO 64 of 2025 regarding the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Pickering Drain and the Carey Drain Extension cleanout for information, and that council accepts the final report for the Pickering Drain and the Carey Drain Extension cleanout prepared by Dobbin Engineering Incorporated, dated August 4th, 2025. And that the first sitting of the quarter revision on behalf of the Pickering Drain and the Carey Drain Extension cleanout be scheduled to be held on October 15th, 2025 at 5:30 PM. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak, a landowner wishing to speak on this petition? Seeing none, I have to ask if there's anyone who'd like to remove their name or add their name at this time. Any questions from council? No questions from council? You have a recommendation in front of you. What's your wish? Moved by Counselor Keough, second by Counselor Nerda. All in favor? That is carried. I need to have a motion to adjourn the, do we have one more? Where? Oh, ma'am.
Item
Okay.
5.5, meeting to consider Jansen McLean Branch C.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Joanne.
Mayor and members of council, in front of you is the report for the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Jansen McLean Branch C. This project was initiated by a request from Parkdale Meats Limited for a drain major improvement and accepted by council on April 3rd, 2024. The request was to reroute the tile drain and to allow expansion of the building. That work has been completed, except for a portion on the north side of the property from an existing manhole to outlet into the Jansen McLean drain. The recommendations in this report include to reroute the Jansen McLean Branch C on the Parkdale Meats be incorporated, that the Jansen McLean Drain Branch C be replaced from the existing manhole to station 0+40, and that the previous Jansen McLean Drain C be abandoned. The cost of the project is estimated at $48,320. The proposed motion and staff recommendation is that council receives report DIO 65/2025 regarding the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Jansen McLean Drain Branch C for information, and that council accepts the final report for the Jansen McLean Drain Branch C prepared by R. Dobbin Engineering, Inc., dated August 12th, 2025, and that the first sitting of the quarter revision on behalf of the Jansen McLean Drain Branch C be scheduled to be held on October 15th, 2025 at 5:30 PM.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from affected landowners on this? Come on up, Les, and give your name. No, don't change your name, just give your name.
At the time you approved the project and the site plan, it was already agreed that any cost for moving anything would be full cost of whoever hit the project. Is that correct?
Through the mayor and to councilors to Les, the full cost of the project is under the development agreement
Yep.
to be paid for by the owners, which is Parkdale Meats,
With no.
the owner of the development. Yes, right. That is correct.
Is that correct? Okay, now the section that will be crossing my land here will be brought back to standard for like holes.
Yes, it will be.
Okay. And then that berm all the way across the back of the property will be all leveled out. You know, it was leveled ground from one property to the other before, so they have stockpiles of topsoil there. All they gotta do is take a dozer, even it all out. But that's not an issue.
That
tonight. We're
doesn't
just
fall-
Talking about the drain.
That doesn't fall within the drain work, correct?
No,
Okay,
oh, the drain's gotta go through, so.
okay. But that's a separate issue, I think, from this drain, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right,
So we're all good?
it's up to you. Are you good?
Well, as long as I don't have to pay for something I shouldn't, yeah, I'm good.
Okay, okay. All right. I do have to ask if there's anyone else who wants to speak on this as well.
Sure.
Come on up, yes.
Yes, I'm the president of Parkdale Meats. So nice to meet you all. So I guess I spoke with Dylan the other day. I came here, spoke about this Jansen McLean drain. So the only thing I have a question, technical question, is so this is about connecting what we have done, the reroute we have done on our property, part of the site plan. So we had to do that and we paid for it. So this is about connecting the end of it to the north side of the land. So I guess I'm not sure why that property on the north was not assessed as an outlet. And I guess my question is, if it has not been assessed as an outlet, I think that land is getting benefit of it, as opposed to not being considered as an outlet.
Okay, I think Josh, you want Josh to answer to this?
Yep, yeah, I can answer that. So through the chair, so the property downstream to the north of you is being assessed a benefit for the improvements being done on the property. Your property will be assessed for a portion of the cost to complete that work as an outlet assessment.
I understand that, but I'm not sure if answers my question about not being assessed, the property, less property is not assessed as an outlet. So it's benefiting from the rerouting that we did and the connection from the north to his property.
Did you get-
So through the chair, the property to the north of you does not utilize the system through your property, so they wouldn't be assessed for any portion of that. They're downstream of those improvements.
So basically, when if we are connecting, that means they are not using it. They are not benefiting of connecting the line.
So through the chair, so we assess sections of the drain to specific properties and then upstream properties. So the section of the drain in your property gets assessed as a benefit assessment to you and a portion to upstream lands and roads. So in that case, Elginfield Road would be paying for a portion of the improvements on your property. Now the drain north of that, where we have proposed improvements, your property would utilize that portion of the drain. Therefore, that you're paying for a portion of the outlet assessment as well as the Elgin Field Road would. But the downstream landowner does not utilize the drainage system through your property, therefore they're not paying for any portion of it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. I'm not convinced yet, but that's fine.
I think you can, you can have again another conversation offline.
Yes,
with-
exactly.
With Joanne, with Josh and get that
Yeah.
straightened out.
Sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody who wishes at this time to add their name or remove their name from this petition? Seeing no one, we have a recommendation in front of us. Councillor Keo, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we will adjourn public meeting and adjourn to proceed to regular meeting. Councillor Nerda, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. Petition for drainage works. And Joanne, I think you're going to do an introduction.
I am. Kristen Wilson is going to present our next report, and Kristen is our full-time, hardworking and dedicated drainage clerk. So she's going to present the petition for drainage works by owners.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. A request for drain major improvement for the Robinson Drain was accepted at council at their meeting May 7th, 2024, where landowners Peter and Terry McGregor, Ron and Kelly Dyer, and Chris Rowlands of Honeyland Agricultural requested improvements. At that meeting, R. Dobbin Engineering was appointed as engineer to the project. Staff and Josh Warner with R. Dobbin Engineering held an on-site meeting on May 29th, 2025, where landowners of the watershed attended. At that on-site meeting, landowner Peter McGregor requested to have a new branch drain constructed. This will be known as Branch G. The proposed motion and staff recommendation is that council receives report DIO 66 of 2025 regarding additional request petition for drainage works by owners for the Robinson Drain, according to Section 4 of the Drainage Act for information. And that council receives the petition for drainage works by owners on the Robinson Drain according to Section 4 of the Drainage Act. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Is there any questions from council? No questions? We have a recommendation. Councillor Irwin, Councillor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, our next item is we have a delegation and Aqua is coming up, and I think Rod's going to make are you going to do an introduction as who came with you as well? Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council and municipal staff for the opportunity to present to you tonight. Behind me is Sam Smith. He is our new regional hub manager, and you'll start to recognize his face when he comes to our meetings and operational meetings and possibly even conferences that you may participate in. So if you have any issues with me, he's definitely the guy that you can talk to. We're here to present our operational reports with water. I'm going to start with the water one first. And again, this is just to provide an overview of the water facilities. So far to date, we have 455 locates. We performed 4 water main repairs and 19 water service repairs. And then we had a ROV inspection. So this is a camera inspection of the Mount Carmel Reservoir. We do this every 5 years, but it was perfect timing because we also have that information for Dillon's Engineering. That's for the new design of the Mount Carmel Reservoir as well. We were able to maintain distribution pressure during the Lake Huron primary water treatment plant shutdowns. And as of June this year, we had a record amount. We had 10 shutdowns as of June. Some were pretty significant where we had to have water tankers come in. The longest shutdown that we had so far to date was scheduled to be a 20-hour shutdown, but ended up being 30 hours. We also anticipate another 4 shutdowns for this remaining year as well. So we have another 3 in October and we have 1 in November. 2 of those, I know for sure we're going to have to bring in water tankers again to sustain pressure in the distribution system. Again, record amount. We've never seen this amount before. And is this a trend? We're going to find out what the amount of scheduled shutdowns they have for 2026 and try to budget accordingly for us. The next one is our continued water loss program, and I'm a big advocate of this one because we have our data loggers that we have at our boundary meters, and this is something that we look at on a weekly basis, and we always look at our minimum nighttime flows, and if we see a leak, we go ahead and start doing our surveys and our district metering areas, and we attack and we find those leaks. One of those was a direct result of that 4 water main repairs on Elgin Field interconnect chamber. So it does pay to have that investment when it allows us to see things that are crossing the rivers and under bridges and things like that. Capital projects, LC Craig, Queen Street water main engineering design. That project is completed. We're just finalizing the deficiencies on that, and we have something scheduled next week just to see where we are. And of course, the Mount Carmel Reservoir engineering and design. Is there any questions regarding the water distribution system?
Questions, Councillor Keough.
Thank you, Mayor Rod. The increase in shutdowns, is that for maintenance or is that for repair?
Definitely I would say both. So definitely maintenance. One that we had in March is a trunk main pipe replacement. So they have a cable that's in that trunk main. And when those wires start to fail, it gives them an indication that they're going to have to do an emergency repair. And that's the one that's going to happen in November. So this summer was a hard summer for them, very hot. They're pumping water consistently. So they had a pipe section that is starting to fail. So they're going to start doing that, but it's going to be both. That plant is a very old plant, so it's starting to age, and they're going to have to start replacing, equipment and some process equipment. So I'm going to say it's both planned and emergency.
Other questions? Seeing no other questions on that, carry on.
Perfect. So LC Craig wastewater systems. The first one that we're going to start off with is again our rain events that we've had. We did have a couple of those due to snow melt and heavy rain, some overflows at our sewage pumping stations. I did put some approximate times of how long that duration was and the amount of cubic meters of raw wastewater that went into our drains. This is just for information of what the work is, but again, we had some good news regarding some funding, so we'll be tackling William Street sewage pumping station, I'm sure, soon. A new UPS, so utility power source here that was installed, and I always put that in there because those are challenging for me when it comes to these type of failures because it's not as simple as replacing a UPS. I lose some type of programming at these facilities, so I have to manually operate that facility until I can get this replaced and get Aramosa Engineering to come in and reprogram these control boards. Dealco Electric, we came with this company to help us with new Ontario pumping station because we had some mice in there that was chewing up some wires and on our flow meters and our pumps function. So we're continuing on with that. We do have a pest control company in place now to help us with that. And throughout the month of June, we've been working with our chemical dosage for alum at the wastewater treatment plant because with low flows, we really have to watch our balance between pH and phosphorus on our final effluent because we can't have one more higher than the other. That goes into our receiving stream. So that has been challenging. No non-compliances to date, but it's just something that we go from one extreme where we have high flows causing us issues, and then we have low flows in the summer that gives us some challenges when it meets our final effluent objectives. Capital projects, LC Craig Energy Optimization Project with our VFDs and heat pumps that we're going. Air Design has actually started this week and they're installed some heat pumps. So that project is well underway. So we're hoping to have that in place and ready for us before the end of the fall. And the same thing with the other two projects. I think they've been completed. So we're just waiting for some reports from these engineering companies. Any questions regarding the wastewater?
Questions on that? No, go ahead.
That's all I have for you, except for if you're wondering why I brought my green hat is because I see a green theme. I unfortunately didn't have anything at home tonight that I could wear as green. The best I can do is support my municipal colleagues is show my green hat. My proud hat. So
They don't always pass on the email to everybody, but
yeah.
anyways, but you're apparently on the email list, on the contact list. So,
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Rod. Thank you. And it was nice meeting you. Okay, next we have a department report, and this, Sam, I think you're doing this, and this is a follow-up on what we just heard.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, and to you and all the members of council. I certainly won't regurgitate all the information that Rod just presented. So I'll just add a couple of things that Rod didn't quite touch on there. And it's predominantly towards capital projects that are ongoing that Aqua is certainly supporting us with. So the Elster Craig wastewater treatment plant energy optimization project, with which Rod did briefly mention, is ongoing. We're expecting that the work is hopefully going to take place in the next month or so here. We're just waiting for the parts to show up, and then they're going to start tackling that and get that done before the winter season. The I&I study for Elster Craig and Nairn that BM Ross is doing on our behalf. Staff just received a draft report at the end of last week. We've gone through, we've provided our comments. So we've scheduled with BM Ross that we're going to finalize the study, and then that will be coming through council quite shortly here. So again, that's one that Aqua supported us with, and that's a project that's wrapping up just about now and will be through council shortly. Couple other projects, the desludging at the lagoons is almost entirely completed. The actual desludging itself is done. We still have some valve work to do, which is to take place next week, which again, Rod and his team are helping us with. And then after that is completed, that project will be done as well. And we'll report to council back on that when that's fully completed with a formal report from RV Anderson on the outcome of the lagoon study and just information in closing the project. Couple other things I just wanted to mention as it relates to ongoing capital projects. We just started our 2025 water meter replacement program that council awarded to Neptune Technology. So certainly Rod's been participating in the meetings that we've been having with those folks. We have another meeting with them tomorrow morning, Friday morning, 10 o'clock, and then that will kick off pretty quickly here. So that's another one that Aqua has been supporting us with, and that will start very shortly here in the way of starting to replace some of the meters, the water meters that we have. Rod already mentioned the Mount Carmel Reservoir one, so I won't mention that one again. And the last one was another capital project that council approved as part of the 25 budget, which was to complete a sanitary sewer model, which is required by our sanitary sewer CLI ECA. So we have not started that yet. That's been awarded to WSP. We have a kickoff meeting actually tomorrow with them, and then that will kick off shortly thereafter. And again, that's another one that Rod and his team are graciously supporting us on. I certainly won't regurgitate all the other stuff that Rod mentioned there, so I'll just formalize it by The recommendations that I'm bringing forward to council this evening are that council receives report DIO 60/2025 regarding the Q2 2025 North Middlesex Water and Wastewater Report for information, and that council receives the appended memoranda, operational plan documents, and client operations reports prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency. And between Rod, myself, and Faisal, we'd be happy to answer any more questions.
Thank you, Sam. Questions from council on it? Seeing none, Sam, I just had one. Do we know the meter costs this year? Have they gone up? Or are they the same or was that?
To you, your worship, the meter costs have gone up, yes, from what they were last year. It's part and parcel because we've obviously added additional scope. We're not just doing the meter anymore. We're doing the meter, we're doing PRV, and then we're doing valving on either side. So we're sort of tackling the entire configuration as opposed to just the meter itself.
Okay,
But certainly the meter costs themselves have gone up from the year-over-year increase.
okay, thank you. Any other questions? Sam? Seeing none, we have a recommendation in front of us. Counselor Daigle? What happened to everybody on this side tonight? Counselor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. All right. Next, we have a manager of public works, and that's for the Queen Street, Church Street stop signs.
To the mayor and members of council, before you this evening is report DIO 61/2025, which responds to a request to evaluate the installation of an all-way stop at the intersection of Queen Street and Church Street in Elsie Craig. Current status, intersection currently has 2 stop signs eastbound and westbound on Church Street. Request received to add stop signs for northbound and southbound traffic, making it an all-way stop. The Ontario Traffic Manual, Book 5, outlines warrant criteria based on collision and traffic volume. At this time, staff cannot confirm warrants are met. Municipality traffic counters are not functional right now, and no funds have been budgeted in 2025 budget for external services. Financial content there, traffic counter requires or determine if warrant our status. Estimated costs for external service would be $4,000. To purchase new counter devices would be about $4,500 per device. No funds allocated in 2025. Council must decide whether to allocate resources in 2025 or defer to 2026 operation budget deliberations. Recommendation that council receive report DOI 61/2025 regarding the stop sign request, Queen Street and Church Street and Elsie Craig as information, and that council direct staff to conduct traffic counts at the intersection in accordance with the Ontario Traffic Manual, Book 5, subject to council direction on how costs will be funded, and that staff advise council that they do not recommend installing any additional stop signs at this location unless the collection data confirms that warrant criteria are satisfied. Sam and I are available for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Counselor Nerda?
Mr. Mayor, Brandon, what happened to our existing traffic counters?
Through the mayor to Councilor Nerda, the traffic counters we have, the black hats, they don't work that great. We find in the practice we've had them before. A lot of them need recalibrated and no one knows where they came from to a point because they were purchased by previous managers before. And the cable counters we have don't work anymore, so they need to be refixed or that way because they've never been used since I've been here.
Thank you, Brandon.
Okay, Counselor Daigle and then Counselor Teal.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Is it required to have traffic counts before this is done? The original option was looked at because of safety concerns, because of speed.
Go ahead, Sam.
Through your worship to the councillor, council can certainly elect to make a decision that's outside of what the staff recommendation is. But staff certainly support following what the Ontario Traffic Manual says, which generally says that you either need to meet the collision warrant or the traffic count warrant, which is what Brandon highlighted in his report. So to answer your question, council can certainly choose to do something different than what the report says.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Irwin?
I'm just curious, your worship, through you, we just had a road study. Do we not have a traffic count on this stretch of road through that study?
Go ahead, Sam.
Through your worship to the councillor, we do have counts on the road. The issue is the counts have to be directly at the intersection and they have to be on both legs. So we would have counts on the main Queen Street, but not on the side through street, which we would also have to get.
Okay. Follow up.
Just following Councilor Nerda's question, how often would we use a traffic count device in if we had an operating one?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to the councillor, as staff, it'd certainly be our best practice to use it as often and as much as we possibly could. We obviously just paid for traffic counts through the road needs study, but that doesn't preclude just continuously using it where we can and when we can.
Okay. It sounds like that's something that would go to budget to see if it's viable. So, Councillor Nerda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sam, what are the implications if we don't follow the Ontario Traffic Manual book?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to the councillor, I'll just mention two things. One, before I answer your question, councillor, Brandon and myself have been talking about budgeting a counter anyway, so it is on our list. So it is something, whether we choose to do it now or in the future, it's something that we're going to bring forward anyway. To answer your question, councillor, if a stop sign went in that wasn't necessarily warranted and something happened, it's kind of hard to say what would or would not be the repercussions, but if it would come down to looking at whether the stop sign was warranted or not, and that's not something that we did, there may be some repercussions there that we put in a stop sign that very well could cause issues, because it very well could, that was not warranted by the Ontario Traffic Manual. Excuse me.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Seeing none, I would say I heard from 3 of the 4 residents at that corner. They called me. I didn't reach out to them. The other 4th house, nobody was living in there at the time, but all 3 of them expressed a desire to see no stop sign in there. That was they did not want to see a stop sign go in. That I'm just passing on the comments as they brought them to me. Councillor Keel.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. I'd like to just make a comment that with the roughness of the paving of that road, is traffic calming enough?
Okay. Sam.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to the councillor. After this was raised as a concern to me at the last council meeting, we did actually go and take a look. It is getting worse than it was before, so we did communicate that with the contractor Burnham. Coincidentally, we have another deficiency walkthrough next week with them, so it's certainly something that we're going to look at with them and continue to monitor.
Okay. The other comment, if I may, it was asked, the question that you asked, Councillor Nerda, was asked at the county when they talked about changing an intersection. And we were told that if it's outside the provincial policy, that it would be, if council said to go ahead with it, it would be on council. That would be on council. That was the comment that we got from the county at that time. I'm just passing that along. Any other questions on this? What's your wish?
Can I just clarify the recommendation, your worship? There's no time limit on the recommendation, so it's basically when staff feel they can do it. Is that correct?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to the councillor, entirely dependent on budget and when we would be able to either buy a counter or hire a secondary counting service. If we were to receive authorization, today to buy a counter, and we bought one, and whenever we got it, we would put the counters in as soon as we got them and kind of go from there. If it was part of the 26 budget, then we would obviously wait till we got the money, and same thing, we would either procure a third party or we would buy counts and go from there. So it's not for a lack of staff not waiting to do it. It's just a matter of procuring the services and then carrying forward from there.
Okay, Councillor Daigle.
Just one more question. You said there was counts on that road in the study we just had. but you don't have counts on the other road. Well, the other road's already got stop signs on it. So I don't see, are we gonna take those stop signs away if the count's not high enough?
Sam?
Through your worship to the counselor, no, the way the Ontario traffic manual reads is that you have to have counts in both directions. And then if you'll see in the report there, it makes mention of it makes mention of two different ratios, 70-30 or 65-35, and that's where it comes into having counts on both roads. You need to have counts on both roads so that you can do your ratios to see if there's volume warrant or not.
Okay,
So that's a requirement of the Ontario traffic manual.
okay. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Irwin?
We did talk at a previous council meeting around ongoing review of road safety and traffic calming. So obviously we need a counter, and probably sooner than later. Whether we go for this study right away or down the road, I think there'll be more of these types of requests in future, and it's good to have the information to make an informed opinion. So can I make a motion that we proceed with the purchase of a traffic counter at this time?
I think the motion would have to be to send it to budget for
Send it to budget.
consideration.
I just heard we could do it in advance of budget or send it to budget, but
Well, it's
if I'm
up to you.
mistaken, that's fine.
It's up to you. It's, if you're making a motion, it's up to you in the motion. Sam?
Yeah, through your worship to the counselor, you could certainly make the decision that we buy it now. We would just also need direction on how it's going to be paid for, or where the money's going to come from.
Yeah. Okay. That's up to you. I'm leaving it in your hands. You want to make a motion?
I'll move the staff recommendation. And I will be happy to hear from our treasurer how we could afford, or where we would pay for a counter at this time as opposed to in 4 months.
Ralph, do you want to respond to that?
I would say that at this point in time, our handle on cash flow would indicate that, no, we're going to be postponing this to 2026. It's not in the 2025 numbers. So probably looking at spring by the time that gets finalized and you can actually make the purchase.
Okay, so your motion is moving the recommendation?
I'll move the recommendation as it stands, your worship.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Keo is seconding. Any other discussion on it? In favor of that? 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor, opposed? 3 opposed, it did carry. All right, the next one is a report from the Director of Corporate Services, and that is on the election alternative voting method. Ashley.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor, the report before council is seeking to approve the internet and telephone voting method for the 2026 municipal and school board elections. North Middlesex has used this method successfully in the past, with IntelliVote being the reliable provider. Middlesex County clerks received a proposal from 3 vendors. IntelliVote continued to be the recommended service provider, and if we participate in a cooperative purchase, it would ensure the best price and service. So for North Middlesex, the cost is quoted at $11,957 plus applicable taxes, and would be funded from election reserves and included in the 2026 mayor's budget. So tonight we are seeking council's approval of the bylaw authoring alternate voting and direction for staff to bring forward the agreement with IntelliVote. And the official recommendation or proposed motion would be that council receive the report entitled Election 2026 Alternate Voting Method, and that the bylaw be established, and that a bylaw to establish an alternate voting method, internet and telephone, for 2026 municipal and school board election be approved, and that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to execute an agreement with IntelliVote Systems, Inc. for e-voting services for the 2026 municipal and school board elections.
Questions on this? No questions? Moved by Councillor Cornelison, second by Councillor Keo, all in favor? Carried, thank you. The next one is a report from Director of Economic Development, and it's on the ROD program application. Brandon.
So Mayor Ropp, members of council, the report you have in front of you is a report on the ROD program this year. The ROD program is formerly the RED grant. It stands for the Rural Ontario Development Program. And they have a grant out that's 4 intakes, intake 1 being due September 25th, I believe. Staff in working with the EDAC committee have talked about numerous different avenues we can go and attack this grant with. Where we fell was trying to tie wayfinding strategy, which we know we need based on different outcomes from our FICE program, which is our first impressions, where somebody else came and visited us and we went to them, as well as what we've heard locally on, you know, just signage of where arenas are, where parks are as you come through a downtown core. And we wanted to tie that to a communication strategy. So the communication strategy is the big piece of this grant. What we are looking at doing is trying to come up with strategic outcomes that would be shop local programs, visit North Middlesex programs, just use that for workplace development, attraction and retention. And through that, try and really bring people into the community to support our local businesses. When we looked at this with a company, we gave them a mission statement for our communications, what we want to see, what we want our vision and values of those communications to be, the core and sub narratives of North Middlesex. So when we're tying in why you want to live here, why you want to shop here, why you want to stay here, what those narratives would be, and the strategies to support them. Then we also looked at what recommendations would come from it, like effective communication transports for the existing community, because not only do we want to look at tourist traffic, how we get the tourists to stop, how we get outsiders to look, but we also want to make sure our businesses are seen by locals, because we have noticed a lot of local residents not knowing what businesses exist in North Middlesex. So how to communicate those to our residents. The final piece of that is the wayfinding. I think we all know what wayfinding is. When you come to a town, you see what service clubs are there, that there's an arena, that there's community centers, that there's the shared service center, where local parking is, those type of things. So when we looked at that with a consultant, the number we got back was around $100,000, which would be the maximum allowed under ROD. What staff's suggesting is to carry that number through the grant process and then put it at, when it comes to RFP, we're fairly confident that the competitive nature will drive it down. Then take that back to our EDAC committee and start looking at those outcomes and saying, okay, are we happy with where it is, or do we want to start shaving outcomes down to bring that number even lower? So from that, our recommendation is that council receive this report for information and the council direct staff to apply for the ROD grant for the development of a corporate communication and wayfinding master plan strategy. And then open for questions.
All right, questions? Councilor Nerda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Brandon, can you explain these 3 substreams and where's this money coming from?
So the substreams are what the grant has. So these are the options that you can go with. What staff are suggesting is going with the economic diversification, competitive and capacity building stream, which is strategies and plans. So it's a provincial grant and the province will fund 50% up to 50K. So they'll give you up to $50,000 on a 50% grant match. So the other 50,000 would have to come through budget process pending we were successful on the grant application. So the other streams are just other things that could be done, not necessarily that staff are suggesting. That was kind of the background outlining the grant and what different things are involved in the grant.
And so is this just going to be like a master plan that tells us what we need to do?
So it's
going to cost.
So it's
us
going to be a
50,000.
strategy in terms of what your communication should look like, going through public consultation, business consultation, like with our local businesses to say, what are we looking as outcomes? Do we want to drive tourists? If we're driving tourists, where should our tourist data be driven at? Where should we be putting our strategic messaging for tourism? Should we be focusing on areas of London that travel to Grand Bend a lot? What should we be doing with that? And then on the wayfinding thing, the wayfinding just separate is more or less them taking the consultation, going through sign design, saying, this is what you should have, coming up with the template for it so that we have something where It's just there for staff for the next 10 years. This is how we communicate with residents. This is how we communicate through tourism. Think of it as like a marketing plan as well. But yes.
Just to follow up.
Okay.
And I just find it hard to justify spending this money when those sound like all objective staff can do. Is that not something that it's in your realm of doing, of going to businesses themselves, of looking at our communication, what works, what doesn't, talking to other municipalities?
Certainly staff could. I think you're talking about hundreds of hours of staff time. And when that plan is done, I don't know, like we have other things that we're focused on. So when you set your sole focus to that in dealing with the consultation, the design, it's just somebody's going to be focused on that for 6 to 8 months, and that's what you're getting out of them. So that's where the consultation piece comes in. Certainly it would be us looking at other plans saying, what do we like out of it? What do we not like out of it? Not maybe the most recent one is 3 or 4 years ago. What's changed? We're not on top of industry trends right away. That's where the experts come from. And like I said, the number may say 100,000, but when we go out to RFP, we may see something at 60, 65. The company that did this was open with us. They said, you know, if you want to start scaling back objectives, that price can come down. And that's what I would leave to the EDAC committee. They're local business owners. A lot of them on there are fiscally responsible people. And I think that you'll come out with a quality product. But
Thank you, Brandon.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Brandon, I read this with a great deal of interest and I appreciate the report. I do. One of the things I was looking for that I don't necessarily see here is that, and not to say that tourism doesn't have value, because I think it does. But at the same time, I think what I was looking for was investment in our community, be that businesses investing here, job creation, those type of things. Is that part and parcel of this? Because I'm not seeing it.
certainly that'll be one of the communication outcomes. Like it does highlight live in North Middlesex. In highlighting North Middlesex as a whole, businesses are going to see it. As we start to grow, we'll be able to use those materials to go to prospective businesses. When the county is saying, you know, we have this interested business looking for this parcel, it'll be part of the package that goes to them to try and bring in new business. It is hard how much that tips the needle for them, but certainly it's just another piece of the puzzle in trying to develop why North Middlesex is what it is, why it's a great place to live, why it's a great place to shop, why it's a great place for you to have your business. So that's a strategy that will come out of this.
Yeah, I guess where I'm coming from is like, I noticed that, well, Vinash Farms with their new meat processing and abattoir there, and Park Hill Meats, and those organizations that are investing in our community, creating jobs and broadening and hiring workers.
Correct.
But I'm not seeing that here. And I'm just wondering, to me, that's what economic development is. And I'm wondering, is that lacking in this presentation?
So certainly when we go to the deliverables, we can look at if agri-food is our target, which both those businesses fall to the agri-food side. If that's our target, we can scope a lot of that as outcomes through our communications. I do think that the primary objective is selling North Middlesex as a whole, and as Van Osh and Pettywood Meats are very much a part of what we want to do. And in that tourism stream, one of the popular things is farm to table. I'm sure that will come out of it as go glamping, get your farm to table, grab your steaks on your way to Grand Bend, those type of strategies in trying to promote North Middlesex.
I'm going to come back to my old faithful, and I think Mayor Ropp will probably get somewhat fatigued with my suggestions, but have we thought anything about greenhouse, alternative agriculture industries here, those type of deliverables in our community? We're the only municipality that does not have a greenhouse operation.
So I think certainly that's one of the agri-food side that's open. I know we've got Abby coming to talk OP update with our EDAC committee, and I'm sure that'll be on the table as what we're trying to push through this update. So
thank you, Brandon.
So I think what we're hearing is there room to change the direction or to adjust how the money's spent? Because I think that's what we're getting at here, right? Yes. Okay.
So, and certainly through that plan, when we come through, part of the consultation will be the people around this table as well, making sure that at the front end that we're getting what we want out of this. Because the last thing I want to do is see a plan where it comes through and the objectives aren't what the business community wants, what staff want, what public wants, and what council wants.
This has to show impact.
It has to show, and we have to
has to
show
show
how
impact.
that money is going to translate into business investment, tourism coming through, and outcomes that way. So.
Okay, Councillor Nerdy, you had one more question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if we're not successful in the grant, do we have to come up with 100,000?
No, if we're not successful with the grant, we will not continue the project.
Thank you. That's all I need to hear.
Are you trying to make our treasurer shake or what? Okay, any other questions on this? Councillor Irwin.
Move the recommendation, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Irwin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hodgins. In favor? That is carried. Thanks, Brandon. You have another one now, and that is on your Parks and Recreation bylaw.
So Mayor Ott, members of council, this one comes from the Recreation Committee. We spent 2 or 3 meetings working on our Parks and Recreation bylaw. We've looked at different things in our parks that currently happen that we don't have a bylaw to hold people accountable for. So this is just creating a framework where we can create the behavior in park for residents that they would appreciate. In terms of motorized vehicles, things of that nature, the full bylaws there. But yeah, if there's any questions on it, that one comes through Parks and Recreation Committee. We've vetted it 2 or 3 times and had public feedback through that. So.
Is there any questions for Brandon on this at this time?
Worship, it just seems like a very long list. And I don't know, we want to start pulling out elements and discussing them, but it seems like there's a lot of things we're prohibited from doing in our parks here.
So through the mayor to the councillor, this is a bylaw that other small municipalities use around us. I would say that we are still complaint driven for bylaw on our park specifically. So in that, if it's not a nuisance and no one's complaining about it, it's there. Things like fishing in a pond, for instance, is one that's there. We don't have any ponds, but if we write the bylaw and then our next park happens to have a pond in it, I don't want to have to keep amending the bylaw for new amenities. These have been tested through larger, so neighboring municipalities that have ponds, that have some other issues that have arose. They've created the bylaw to prevent them. It's just proactive on our side to have them in place.
Okay.
In saying that, it's like the Asabo River, for instance, would not be applicable if you're on the riverbank because it's not our property at that point. So things like that would be fine.
Okay. Any other questions on this? This is going to come before us. We need a motion on, we have a recommendation. Councillor Keogh, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried, and consider it bylaw time. Committee reports. Lake Huron Primary.
Meeting first week of October, Mayor Ott.
Okay, thank you. Asabo Bayfield.
Yes, I'd like to draw your attention to the general manager's report and the correspondence there because I think it's an interesting document because Davin, he's initiated this process of sharing with the board of directors all the things that are happening and what the staff are doing there. And it's an interesting read.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Councillor on that? Seeing none. Blue Water Recycling.
Just the information that's been brought forward.
Okay, thank you. Economic Development. Nothing?
Nothing at this time, your worship. The next meeting is October 9th.
Okay, thank you. Local School Advisory.
Your worship, if I could speak to this for a couple moments, and I think members of council have seen a lot of media attention recently around announcements that the provincial supervisor now has the authority to close schools. Regardless of the moratorium of school closures, there has been media that many of members of council have participated in the free press, and I think on radio, you may want to speak to that, your worship. And I know it's causing a lot of concern in our community. I'm wondering if council would agree, whether it's direction or motion, that we put forward a information campaign around the value of a local high school and the challenges we're having with enrollment, which are not caused wholly by ourselves, but by previous actions of the school board where they paid for out of district busing that have siphoned off, for lack of a better term, a large percentage of our student body. And that with simple boundary adjustments, we could probably even have a full high school. So to have information out there countering the speculation that is occurring around our school enrollment and the potential for our high school to close, which is now really in the media and being discussed, I think is important. And I'm curious how the rest of council feels, and I would like to see us address that through education and communication.
Okay, thank you. Comments from council? Because I do agree that we need to put something out. We need to put some information out because it is really in the media right now. And I know Councillor Nerdy, you've been speaking to the media as well. And I think we have to get this message out, and so we're consistent with it. And I would ask that staff work with the local school advisory committee or chair and the people on the committee to work that out and to bring something forward for that. Okay. Do we need a motion on that? Just direction? Pardon?
Thank you, through you. I think that you should secure a motion so I can add it to deferred.
So I just moved the mayor's comments.
Move that. Okay, moved by Councillor Irwin, seconded by Councillor Nerda. In favor? Carried.
Worship, I have one additional information item relating to that.
Okay,
It's been 2 weeks since we've met with the Minister of Education. Yesterday, I followed up with our MPP staff, Steve Pinson's staff, and they are continuing to follow up and did it again yesterday for the promised meeting with the provincial supervisor for Thames Valley. I'm hoping we have that meeting soon, but I'm not going to hold my breath, Your Worship.
and I would say we know by what's been happening the last couple of days, why the minister told us to give him a couple extra weeks to respond back again. We did have a good meeting with him the first time, but he did ask for a couple of extra weeks to sort things out. So if there's nothing else in local school advisor, rec committee.
Meeting coming on 23rd of September.
Okay, thank you. Policy review, anything there? Nothing there, is there? Fire committee?
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Yes, we had a meeting last week, I believe it was, and we were advised that the Els Craig engine is now there. And we discussed what we will do with the previous engine, and there's some talk about whether or not it could still be useful, but apparently it requires quite substantial repairs and an investment. We decided not to do that. So the recommendation from the committee is to dispose of the previous engine.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your Worship, if I may just add to what the chair has mentioned, I did have staff print out, and I'll pass around to members of council, the little pamphlet that was recently created by staff, specifically District Chief Scott and Felicia, our communications manager. It was speaking, this came about from a negative situation where sadly, we had a family lose their home. And at the time they said it would be really helpful if they had something like this. And so out of that negative situation came this pamphlet and information on our website that you can use the QR code to get to. And so this is just been completed by staff, and I thought I would share it with members of council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Comments from council on either the fire truck situation or on this? Councillor Daigle.
I'm willing to put a motion forward that the truck be put up for sale or
Disposed of. You're making that motion. A seconder, Councillor Canellison is seconding that. Yeah. Any other discussion on it? All in favor of that? In favor? Okay, thank you. Anything else on the fire committee? You have that for information, and I think that's at least something good that came out with that, so. Community Development Fund, nothing there. Aqua Client Advisory Board. And the Middlesex OPP, is there, so I have a question. If Councillor Irwin, have you got through the paperwork and stuff for that?
I have received nothing, Your Worship.
Okay,
I did speak to the potential candidate for Lucan Badolf because his name was mentioned by the deputy mayor.
okay,
Because I know him from another committee we're on. He's withdrawn his name, so I guess I'm the only candidate.
okay.
If I may, Your Worship, that is what I was waiting for, is to hear from Lucan Bidoff that that Councillor Irwin was the selected candidate on their behalf as well. And then we would start the process of the training and so on. There's police checks and all a variety of things that have to take place as the deputy mayor will be familiar with from his past experience. So we'll start that process.
Okay, thank you. Correspondence. There is none. And other and urgent business, there's a couple to start with. Brandon, you have about childcare. You have a report.
So Mayor Ropp, members of council, as you may have heard, the Minister of Education released some requirements around childcare centers. As you're also aware, we do have an Elsa Craig Cooperative Play School as well as the childcare that we have going in Park Hill. This will create some financial constraints for us in terms of we have to now put up barriers around certain areas of that childcare, specifically with relating to any adjacent parking areas around where the building is that the children have their programming or any of their outdoor areas. So staff will be installing bollards along the front parking lot to prevent any vehicle from going through there. And we will also be including some heavy plastic barriers filled with sand along their play areas to prevent vehicles from going through there. They all have to meet the requirements that the minister issued. So we will be doing that in the next couple of weeks to ensure that they can still continue to operate.
Thanks, Brandon. Any questions or comments from Councillor Ellison?
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Brandon, when are we going to get a tour of our new daycare center? And hopefully we don't have to wear any protective equipment.
So through the mayor to the councillor, the child care center has been turned over to them in order for them to start putting their furnishings in. Our side will be in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. They've guaranteed October 5th. And then from there, we can talk about what a grand opening looks like and having a ribbon cutting and touring the facility in whatever we would choose to wear.
Didn't work so good the last time.
Okay, anything else on that? Seeing nothing else. The next one, Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To members of council, if you'll recall at the last council meeting we had as it relates to the Blue Water Organic Waste Program that was presented to council, motion came out of that meeting that staff conduct an educational campaign of sorts. As part of the formal motion, it was just discussed to do a mail out of some kind, and then other business at the end of the meeting, it was discussed to do some open houses of some kind. So staff would just request council's direction on formally what they would like to see out of the education campaign that we would carry forward. Thanks.
Who wants to start? Okay.
I would certainly like to see a mail out. I think I'd like to see social media engaged. I know that the Middlesex neighbor seems to be a really good, convenient methodology of communicating with a significant number of individuals. And I think you might get a response there.
Okay, but we are looking for direction of what we want to.
I would also like to see that we have 2 open houses, one here in Elsa Craig, one in Park Hill and one in Elsa Craig for public input.
Councillor Irwin.
Your Worship, if I could add to Councillor Nerda's recommendation, I would like to invite to those open houses all potentially participating parties, including the operators of the landfill site in Watford, the Ministry of the Environment, if they would attend, as well as BRA and anyone else who can give more complete and information to our public.
Okay. All right, but you're looking for more information. What you're going to put this together now? Do you have enough information to put this together now to send it forward? Sam.
Yeah, through your worship to the councillor, staff has already been working on it behind the scenes, just based on what we thought the outcome was from the last meeting. We just wanted to formalize what it was so that everyone was on the same page and we moved forward with what council's wish was.
So are you going to send out to council before it goes out, what you're just sending out to the public?
To you, Mr. Mayor, if that's council's wish, we can certainly do that, yes.
I think that'd be good if you did. All right. Good. So we're good there?
Yes, we're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Any other comments on it? Good. We need a motion for it? Okay.
What would you like the motion to be, Ashley?
On the direction that was given to the,
So yeah, okay, Sam, did you get our direction? We want social media, we want mail outs, and we want public meetings, and we want to invite a lot of people. Are you good?
Through your worship to the counselor, I'm good, yes. I don't need a formal motion to move forward with that.
Okay.
If that's good with council.
Okay. Are you all right with that? Or do you want a motion? She wants it. You want a motion, so.
That is my motion.
That's your motion.
I'll second Councillor Canelison's motion, your worship.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah. And inviting all of the parties that we can for it. Yeah,
I got it.
okay. All right, we voted on it. We voted on it. Any other business? Any other business? Nothing? Communications, including county council, reading of the bylaws.
Thank you, and through you. Bylaws tonight being bylaws 55, 63, 64, 71. Oh. Excuse me, one moment. Sorry, thank you. Bylaws 55, 63, 64, 71 to 76 of 2025 be read a first and second time.
My question is on bylaw 73, 15.6, try recycling waste and CRD bin service agreement. Is that for the transfer station only?
I would like that to direct that to Director of Infrastructure and Operations.
Through your worship to the counselor, that is correct. Yes, this is the agreement that came out of the last try recycle transfer station only report.
Thank you.
Okay. So first and second, Counselor Daigle, Counselor Canellison, all in favor? Carried. Third and final, Counselor Irwin, Counselor Keough, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. I would ask, is there a need to go into closed session? Does council feel you need to go into closed session?
I guess that depends on what the question is going to be. And who's going to ask it?
I would ask for to move to closed session at this time. Counselor Daigle, Counselor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.